to another episode of Drive Time, the weekly series where I film myself driving home from work. I hope everybody's having a great day. I've had a pretty good day. Work is behind me now, so anytime you're driving home from work and you don't have to work over or stay late, it's a pretty good day. But anyways, I want to talk about is this a podcast? I was thinking about it today, and it's like, to what a podcast is considered nowadays when you get online and you'll see, a lot of people do podcasts on YouTube where they don't even upload it to iTunes or any other platforms. They just do it online. Or you'll see, where it's specifically on iTunes and a podcast, but it'll be on different platforms too. I don't really know what the term means anymore. It used to be on your iPod, you could listen to a podcast. Now it seems like you can get a podcast on just about anything. But I started thinking, is this a podcast? Because all I'm really doing is talking. It's like a talk show, which is normally what a podcast is. And I've also been playing with the idea of uploading it to some podcast services, but I know how, intense those people can be. So I think in order to do that, I'll have to get some sort of better audio setup that hears me better, but doesn't get as much of the road noise like you're probably hearing in the background right now. But when you're mounting the GoPro to a phone mount, I do have the GoPro mount, but it's so much easier to throw it up on this phone mount. If you're interested, I can definitely show you another time. But I've got it up on a phone mount on the windshield, so of course you're going to get a little bit of wind noise because the wind's hitting the windshield at 60 mile an hour right now. But I'm starting to think this might be more of a podcast, and I think I might even start to upload it to some other sites, like potentially on iTunes or on maybe Spotify, but SoundCloud. Put it up on SoundCloud as a podcast if I can get a better audio setup. Just because YouTube's great, but I know YouTube's more for exciting content and fun content of people doing stuff in the video, and with this being mainly talking, I'm starting to think maybe it'll fall into a more of a podcast type situation. However, I do plan to still keep putting all the videos on YouTube because that's why I started this. I wanted to get used to talking to the camera and get more in depth with that. But I even thought of the idea of having podcasts more and more, and I've noticed how more and more podcasts are coming out there and a little bit shorter. If it's a daily podcast, it seems like somebody's talking for maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes and just sharing a thought or sharing some stuff about their day or anything. I think that's really cool and really interesting, especially when you tie in little bits of faith in it every once in a while, because I am a Christian. This is a Christian channel. We talk a lot of Christian things. We have a Bible Bite series that's Christian. I might even consider making that into a podcast format to where that goes up on its own as well, just the audio. Because I feel like that's a great way to reach people when you're trying to make a video that's more about what you're saying and less about what you're doing. I think that the best form for that may be a podcast. But personally, I kind of go back and forth. I like to have the video. There's a few podcasts that I listen to that seem to be mainly on YouTube, or I do them mainly on YouTube just because I'm on the computer when I want to listen to those specific podcasts. Might as well pull up the video. Do I watch the video the whole time? Not if it's an hour. If it's an hour-long podcast, I'm probably not going to be able to watch the whole thing video. I'm not just going to sit there and stare at people talking around a table. But you switch back and forth. But then there's other podcasts, like I listen to The Wally Show every day. They're a radio show on Way FM in Nashville, Tennessee. However, they put out a podcast of the radio show, so they cut all the music out and cut it together to where it kind of flows well, and then they do an aftercast, which is solely for the podcast listeners. And I listen to that throughout the day. I probably wouldn't watch an hour-long video of that on YouTube. I'd rather just be able to put my headphones in, because it's also, depending on what you're watching, sometimes if you're watching a certain podcast, it's made for video. They want to show you different things, show you clips, and show you things like that. And when you're trying to listen to it, it's a lot harder because it's like if you're on a photography podcast, and they're like, so I was in this place and I was taking these pictures, and here I am, here's one of the pictures I took from Rome or something, and you're like, it would have been cool to see that, but I'm not going to go back and dig through, an hour to 2 hours of content. Anyways, I think I'm getting off into the weeds here about podcasts, but if you guys think it'd be a good idea to make this as a podcast and put it out on iTunes and just upload the audio files separately, please let me know in the comments below. And if you think it's a good idea, hit that like button. That really helps us out a whole lot. Anyways, I think I'm going to cut this one pretty short because I've kind of just rambled on about podcasts. If you have an interest in what podcasts that I listen to, be sure to leave that in the comments below. I would love to make a video about it, or even make a blog post about it, or do both, you know. But yeah, just let us know what you're interested in the thing, and we'll be sure to talk about that. And be sure to watch out for more videos coming soon. Thank you guys again so much for watching this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and God bless.